Jerry, it would be impossible to describe the true feeling that each individual that ever had the opportunity to come into contact with Red Barr, particularly at Southern Methodist University, could explain the value and the inspiration that this man was. He is known around the sports world in the United States as the greatest swimming coach of all time, and certainly he certainly deserves this title, having won 15 consecutive Southwest Conference championships. But those of us that had the pleasure and the privilege of knowing Red personally know that he was even a greater man.
He worked with youngsters as much as he worked with his collegiate swimmers, didn't he?
Red Barr worked with all people, young, the students, the swimmers on his team. He worked with adults. Red Barr loved people, and everyone that knew Red Barr loved him.
More and more graves are being filled in Fort Worth due to an increase in the number of murders here in the city. In 1970, last year, an all-time record high was reached in the number of homicides. This year, already 57 murders have been recorded. That's 7 ahead of the rate of last year. Lieutenant Oliver Ball of the Crimes Against Persons Department of the Fort Worth Police Department described 31 of the murders this year as acts of passion, usually occurring during the height of arguments in family homes. Less than 20 of the murders occurring this year were influenced by alcohol occurring at local bars. I asked Lieutenant Ball what he feels can be done to at least reduce the number of murders in the city.
If we only knew what to do. In fact, 31 of our murders this year in homes. There's no way you can police a home. If there's a gun there and there's people there that get into a fuss, fight, murder happens, there's no way that any police department can police homes.
The estimates of homicides in the city of Fort Worth come the year of 1975 range as high as 300 annually. That's based on the growth of the city and the current murder rate of about 1 person per every 3,000.
Role-playing is used in the suicide prevention centers to train the volunteers in handling calls with clients. And it's much better than trying to teach people just theory or just tags that they can put on things, because you get to see how someone naturally performs right on the spot. And they can get feedback from other members of the group about how they come across.
In training your volunteers, do you also use this technique?
Yes, all the time. It's a regular thing that's done in regular training groups for anyone that's on the telephone.
Do the volunteers at the center all have a professional medical background, or are any of these people laymen?
All of the volunteers in our center who work on the telephone we consider to be laymen. Their education may range from doctoral degree on down, but they have specialized training in dealing with crisis situations on the phone.
At the prevention center, how many crisis calls would you say actually come in percentage-wise?
We consider almost every call we have as a crisis call. About a third of our calls are suicidal in nature.
that a person could reach the point where there's no reasoning at all, only the desire to kill. But it's happened to 57 persons already this year in the city of Fort Worth. That's a rate that's lower than a lot of cities, but it meant the premature erection of many of these gravestones. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth.
Oh, there's some, and I'm going to use a general figure of 21 statutes that are discriminatory. They go into other sections, it could be, but let's just use a figure of 21 that are known discriminatory statutes. If this amendment passes, it automatically repeals these statutes.
Well, what are some of the specifics?
Well, there's community property laws, probate laws, criminal statutes. To give you a quick example, if a woman caught her husband in adultery and shot and killed either the husband or the girlfriend, she would be held in first-degree murder. Reverse that, if a man caught his wife in adultery and shot either the husband or the girlfriend, then it would be justifiable homicide. I think this is pretty discriminatory.